Hello and welcome to another episode of View from the Tilton Road, airing every week on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm Kieran, your host for this episode, and with me this week I've got Elliot and Dan. Lads, thanks both for joining me. Got three games to talk about this week because we haven't caught up for a little while now. Obviously the first one of those being a victory at Hillsborough against Sheffield Wednesday. Elliot, if we can just get your views quickly on that result first of all.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that the result was the main important thing about that game. I couldn't care less about the performance, and even though the performance was pretty good, I think it was heading for a draw till they got the defender sent off, and I think that helped us massively. They didn't have a lot of opportunities. We didn't have a lot of opportunities, and then luckily for us, Scott Hogan popped up with what he does best, a tap-in. So, yeah, the 3 points is all we needed. This is all we need now. Between now and the end of the season, it's just 3 points. It doesn't matter how we get them.
Yeah, it's like you say, I think we did play fairly well, to be fair, but like you say, we did seem content with a draw. And I think Sheffield Wednesday, to a certain extent, did as well. Like you say, until the red card kind of changed the game. But, Dan, what were your views on that result?
I think it started off as two teams they knew how big the game was, and it started off with I don't think either team really wanted to lose. But the big thing was I seen a lot more grit and determination in the team that game, because I think obviously whether the banner or not had anything to do with it, and they used that, I think it probably did, because they knew that they should know anyway, but it probably sort of gave them a kick up the backside, going, look, we are letting everyone down now. We need to fight for this. This is a massive game. Because if we lost that, you don't know where we'd be now, because it's unlikely to say if we lost that game, we would have got the results. Well, although we only won one out of the next two, but it's unlikely we would have got the same performances in the next two games.
It's like you say, it's the two teams that just didn't want to lose the game rather than to take the initiative and go and win it, really. A lot riding on that result. But even at this, you could still say this early stage of it, there's still a lot of situation and changes in the situation coming up, I think, in the relegation battle. But we've got to make sure that we're knuckling down and picking up the results, I think. But not really much else to talk about from that game, to be honest, really. So there are not many talking points. Then we followed that up with another home defeat against Norwich. But a game that I still took a lot of positives from myself. I thought we looked really, really good against Norwich, to be honest, even in defeat. But Elliot, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the first hour of the game, we played really well, didn't we? And we put them under a lot of pressure in the first half. I think most Norwich fans would say that we absolutely dominated them and just couldn't keep up the intensity in the end. I think Kranka, obviously he came under a lot of fire for the substitution, bringing San Jose on, and it kind of all went sort of downhill from there. But his reasoning was he didn't want to disrupt the system that we were playing in. He just wanted to do a like-for-like substitution. I think Harper was I don't think he's not had a lot of minutes before he's come to the club. So, expecting him to play a high-intensity 90 minutes against the league leaders was probably asking a bit much. So I think he probably knew in the back of his mind after the game that he made a mistake with that substitution. I think we kind of saw that with the choice of squads at the weekend and the team. And the substitutions that were made as well. So yeah, I think we were unfortunate, really. It was like a lucky bounce, wasn't it, for the second goal? It was just unfortunate. It felt, when you're at the top of the league, all those types of chances fall for you. And when you're at the bottom of the league, those types of chances don't fall for you, unfortunately. And that's just the position we're in at the moment. If we're going to get results, we've just got to grind them out.
Well, it's like that classic saying, you make your own luck, don't you, really?
Yeah.
And like you say, when you're flying high, not that we'd know anything about that in recent years, but obviously, like you say, that you always seem to get that break of the ball, don't you? And that, I mean, you mentioned San Jose. I don't think I've seen anything as daft as him jumping under the ball for the third goal on the counter attack when he's the last man. a man who's played at centre-back in top-level Spanish and European football for the past 10 to 12 years should not be misjudging the bounce and the drop of a ball. But I think that just kind of sums his season up with us, doesn't it, really? But Dan, what did you take from the game against Norwich?
I couldn't really criticise the level of performance again. And the thing that again encouraged me in that game and the last 3 games as well, I think more so than the other games before that, I do think they were fighting. I do think they were fighting. They were giving it their all. And first half, you wouldn't have guessed that there was that big of a gap between us. I think there was a bigger gap in points between us and Norwich than points we actually had at that point in the season. So, but it was a really good performance. And as you say, lucky bounce for the second one deflated us. And yeah, looking back, the sub of San Jose, I mean, it did fill me with a bit of dread because his legs more than anything. He's just so slow. But I do think with these substitutions, I do think there is obviously criticism aimed at the manager, and rightly so for a lot of them. But I do think more comes into subs than him just wanting to play them, because Harper, as Elliot said, only played a few minutes before joining us. And sometimes when Sanchez or Bella comes off, it might be because, they're tired, they're not really contributing. But out of context, they don't really make sense. But there's a lot more that goes into it than Kieran going, I want to take wingers off for me, because otherwise it just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, that game, another mistake killed it off, but can't really moan at the team in general.
I don't think it, like you say, I don't think it's ever the case of Karanka sitting there and thinking, I want to take wingers off, or I want to make sure that, San Jose gets some minutes today. There's obviously a thought process behind it. It's just that us as the fans never seem to quite understand what his thought process is. I mean, obviously, it got pointed out we had 6 defenders on the pitch, was it, against Norwich at full time? But it's just, yeah. That I can't say I understand it, but I think kind of justified on Saturday with his substitutions. He finally got them right, didn't he?
He did explain the Valeri one in a way, because a lot of people have said Valeri can play as a winger, although he is traditionally a right back. And he did sort of say that he had a few doubts about Luco after the few performances beforehand. So it sort of left with one hand tied behind his back because the performances of Luco, that takes another good substitution off the list for him.
I think Luco will touch on briefly in a bit, because I do want to mention him. I'm at a loss with him for the most part, to be honest, at the minute. But obviously, one thing we have got to talk about, again, another game, in the end, a positive result against QPR on Saturday. Elliot, I bet you're relieved with your QPR mates not giving you so much slack. But what did you think of the game yesterday?
Yeah, it was a funny game. I think, obviously, I felt that we controlled the first half, and then I think going in at half time, the difference between the two sides was a clinical striker that knows how to get on the end of a cross, and they had that, and we didn't. And I think that's been a story of our season, really. Our recruitment has been dubious, and teams like QPR, who they just know who to go out and get, and they pulled away from trouble. I think we were fortunate not to be 2-0 down, and then from there he made better substitutions. I think it's frustrating, a lot of supporters, when we're seeing Djukovic come on and then Bella going off. But fortunately, he kept Sanchez on. And it was a bit of brilliance in the end, really, I think, which has relieved a bit of pressure on Karanka, to be honest, because I think if we're drawing that game or losing that game, I think he's going to... I dread to think that, the type of flack that he was going to come under, Monday morning. So... Yeah, again, just like the Sheffield Wednesday game, all that mattered was the 3 points. I don't care that we had to come back in the last 8 minutes to get them. The main thing is we got them.
I think the comeback was exactly what we deserved over the course of the 90 minutes. Like you say, the one thing that's made QPR so good since the turn of the year is the fact that they've got Charlie Austin, basically, who at this level is not to be sniffed at in any side, is a, really.
No.
Done it against us for West Brom as well, didn't he, last season? Did he get 2?
Yeah, he got a couple last season, didn't he? And I mean, one of his strikes was sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like one touch, turn, top corner, and I know I just touched on the recruitment side of things, and I just wonder with this club, don't get me wrong, we're yet to see Sam Cosgrove, and I know he's injured at the moment, but when you're spending £2 million on a striker that's out of form at the moment, he's not hitting the goals. We really needed, in my opinion, we needed someone in the mould of Charlie Austin just to come in that's already scoring goals to give the team a lift. And I speak to my mate who's a QPR fan, and he says that the whole side has just gone up a notch since he's come in. Just having that player up front that they know is going to finish chances off if they put him on a plate for him.
Yeah, well, you see, we had it with going back a few years now. You look when we put Dugarry into the side, and what an impact he had. These players that can just make the difference, can't they? And it kind of lifts the levels of everyone in and around that starting 11 as well, week in, week out. That showed with QPR so far. I mean, I did see, as I mentioned to Dan before recording, before Saturday's game, since the turn of the year, QPR had averaged 2.57 points a game. And you think, what's the one difference between this year and earlier on in the season? It's Charlie Austin. Mm-hmm. So that just goes to show the impact that a real goal scorer can have. But Dan, what did you think of the game on Saturday?
Well, the first half we was totally dominant, but as the game was going on, as that half was going on, and we wasn't scoring, I think Kieran said it a few weeks ago. He said it feels like watching the same film. I kept getting that sickening feeling, thinking it's only going to take one chance for them. It's only going to take one chance, and that proved to be the case again, and it felt like same old. Here we go again. What can we do to actually win a game at home? But the second half, it was a bit more mixed, because I think obviously then they're happy to almost hold on, even though they did miss a few chances. Looking at the manager's substitutions that they made, Mark Warburton, he took off a lot of their better attacking players and tried to make it more solid. But I think a lot of times he's came under criticism for his substitutions, and yesterday they paid off perfectly, because Roberts, like, forget bend it like Beckham, bend it like Roberts. that cross was unbelievable. And when it went in, I was still sort of trying to claim that it came from the long throw, same move. But what a cross. And Pedersen, I think, for his last few games, he deserves something like that to celebrate, because I've been one of his biggest critics this season and since the return after lockdown, because I don't think he's been anywhere near the standard he was before that. But the last 3 games, you can see how much he actually wants to succeed again and wants to get us out of this mess. And then Croatian messer. That second goal, we don't have too many players at Blues that just casually do something like that. Yeah, okay, it's not an absolute screamer, but how he's just like took it such. No, I'm lost for words. How he's done it so easy like that, and that picture of him smiling before it's even gone in, it was class. What a big moment for us! What a big turning point! And although a lot of people are against him at the minute, and for some reason I still wanted him to succeed, and I do want him to succeed, and he's not out of trouble yet. I just felt happy for the manager for a bit, because the amount of stress that you could see on his face over the last few weeks, he looked like a different person, and hopefully he can start gathering some momentum.
Well, we've all been of the opinion on the podcast that you don't just turn into a bad manager overnight. Obviously, Karanka is a good manager. I don't think that's ever been the question of any of us on here anyway. It is obviously just wasn't working for him. But like you say, I think now this could be a massive turning point for Karanka and the lads as well, going into the rest of this season and beyond that as well. This could be the one result, but we've been here before at the same time, so we've got to err on the side of caution. We won back-to-back games against Reading and Bristol City, for example, and then went and lost a home game to someone that I can't even remember. So, we take it with a pinch of salt, but two huge results this week, and an even bigger game coming up in midweek against a team that we can potentially leapfrog in the table, and one of the few teams that we've actually beat at home already. So, Elliot, what do you think for Tuesday now? Do you think going to this game against Huddersfield, do you want to sit on the fence, or do you want to give us a...
I think we can. I think we can win the game. Firstly, I think we can win the game. I think any team that's got Richard Keogh at centre back, they're always going to be a bit dodgy, aren't they? They've got a lot of absentees at the moment. I think. I'm sure one or two will probably be back Tuesday night. But I think if we keep the intensity, and like Dan said, I think they've definitely had a kick up the arse. They are definitely. There's more intensity to their game at the moment. They're closing down. They're working harder. If they just keep that intensity up Tuesday night, I think we'll win the game. I think it's a game we can't lose. We can't afford to lose it. That's for sure. We've got to try it. Even if we can't win the game, don't lose it. We've got to keep Huddersfield in the mix with us because they're on a terrible run at the moment. I know they had a good result the other week, as we were speaking earlier, against Swansea, but they've been losing a lot of matches. And they're not a happy camp at the moment. So we need to keep them in and around us because, like we were saying earlier, like I was saying earlier, I think this is going to go to the last day, 100%. So the more teams we can keep in touch with, keeping it around us is better for us.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Dan mentioned earlier on was the banner that was put up outside the training ground in the run up to the Sheffield Wednesday game, and obviously you mentioned Pedersen picking up a bit of form in the past few games. He's actually one of the players that posted it onto his social media channel. So it does seem to be having a positive effect on at least some of the players in that squad. I mean, Harley Dean, since he's shaved his head, seems to have improved. I know that means nothing, but
it's like you as a host, mate. It's like you as a host.
I ain't saying anything. I just wanted to model myself on him after his past few performances, that's all.
You've been his biggest critic as well, so I'm surprised you've gone for the same hairstyle.
I don't know what you're on about. I haven't slated him once.
Moving on.
Yeah, went in a few weeks when I've got my hair modelled like San Jose.
That's me at the minute. I think.
Yeah, Dan Jose. Dad jokes. Never mind. No, I mean, Dan, what do you think going into the Huddersfield game? Do you agree with Elliot? It's a game we just can't afford to lose. What do you think happens?
Yeah, I want our team will have to go out and want to win. But as a fan's perspective, a win would be amazing because that'd be 3 wins in 4, something that, it would be the best lot. It'd show a bit more consistency over quite a few games. But yeah, I agree. We can't lose because if we can't leapfrog them, just keep them there because hopefully then if results go our way and we don't and we draw, hopefully it's just one game down, another game down. It's a massive game, and Huddersfield are a team that I don't really know what to expect from, regardless of the form, because they're a team that one day can have a stinker, but then all of a sudden, when everything clicks, they can beat a team like Swansea 4-1. But we're in slightly better form than them recently. So, and the way we played over the last 3 games, I've got no reason to think why we couldn't get something from the game. So I'm going to go 9-0 Blues. No, about, I think it could be a 1-0. 1-0, 1-1.
Yeah. I think, we definitely, like Elliot says, we definitely can't afford to lose the game again and just put ourselves back into the same situation. We've just done enough to claw ourselves away from it a bit, albeit there is a few games in hand against us still. But Rotherham are bang out of form. I think it's 5 losses in a row now they've had, and Wednesday have just took a bit of a thumping after going 2-0 up against Luton. That's going to be a tough one for them to recover from, I think. So I think if the results can go in our favour on Tuesday, or in midweek, should I say, and ideally you want a Rotherham and Wednesday draw, don't you? If we beat Huddersfield and Coventry lose to Middlesbrough, then that puts us above Coventry and Huddersfield, which, again, I know the points gap isn't much, but just putting the numbers between you and the relegation zone can have a huge difference, can't it, really? So who knows what can happen from here. But, I mean, put us just in touching distance with Derby as well, I think, if I'm right. And obviously everyone's talking about how amazing Derby are under Wayne Rooney. Although Derby's best result under Wayne Rooney was probably the victory at our place, which we just gave them on a plate. So, it's an interesting few weeks to come. But
yeah, I think so. Like you're saying, touching on Derby, right? What are they? 3 points ahead? Are they 3 points ahead of us? Maybe
I think they're on 40 points.
Oh, okay. So I would consider Derby out of it. I wouldn't consider Derby are in the mix with us. I think anyone from Huddersfield down at the moment. I think the sides above. I think Luton are just doing enough. They've done enough really, and I think 50 points will be enough this season to stay up. So I think we're looking at 16 points now to get there. Obviously, with our goal difference, it could be a nervy last day. So I think realistically, are we going to get 16 points from the next 13 games? I think it might be a bit of a push. Where we're looking at the fixtures, just talking about the fixtures earlier, and when we're looking at, I think we've got a run of 4 games where we've got informed Barnsley away. I think we've got Reading. We've got to go to Brentford, and we've got Swansea as well. I think we've even got Bristol City coming up, haven't we, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Who have turned a massive corner under Pearson. So don't get me wrong. I think in this division, anyone can beat anyone, and on their day, other than I think Norwich at the moment, where they just seem to be just flying away with the title. I think we will pick up a couple of results that are unexpected, definitely between now.
Yeah, so you say we need 16 points from 13 games. So what's coming up then? So we've got Huddersfield away, Barnsley away, Bristol City at home, Reading at home, Watford away, Swansea at home, Brentford away, Stoke at home, Rotherham away, Forest at home, Derby away, Cardiff home, Blackburn away on the final day.
It's a tough set of fixtures, isn't it?
The thing that you hope for is a lot of them teams, as we go on, will end up not having much to play for. Because at the minute you look at a lot of those games thinking, oh, that's bad. But in the last few games, quite a few of them teams might not have much to play for. The Rotherham game could prove to be absolutely massive.
We've had a massive game at Rotherham before, haven't we?
Yeah.
A couple of seasons back.
Someone re-sign Murat too quick.
Yeah, get Kieran Fry back if we get a free kick.
Oh God.
But yeah, I must admit, we've given ourselves a chance, and I must admit, before the weekend, I didn't have much confidence that we were gonna survive this season. But I feel like we've got a glimmer of hope now. So just every game just gets bigger and bigger now. But yeah, Tuesday night's massive now.
I was just looking down Rotherham's fixtures. I mean, they've got obviously they've got an easier run than we have, but the form they're in, you look at the games, so their last 5 games, they lost 2-1 to Cardiff, 4-1 nils in a row, Bournemouth, Norwich, Forest and Reading. They've got Wednesday, Brentford, Luton away, Coventry at home, Watford at home, Bristol City away, Millwall away, Wickham at home, Huddersfield away, QPR at home, then against us, then Middlesbrough at home, Barnsley away, Blackburn at home, and then they end the season at Cardiff. So
they've got a few 6-pointers there.
They've got a few teams in and around them still. Huddersfield, if we can drag them down, they've got us, they've got Wednesday to come, they've got Wickham below them. So you've got to think that Rotherham are going to pick up some points along the way.
Yeah.
I think
it's all about matching them now. It's about matching the teams below us. That's all we've got to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I say, we've got to keep Huddersfield in touching distance or in the mix. We cannot lose to them and let them pull away, because I think it really is between Huddersfield down, Huddersfield, Coventry, ourselves, Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday. And then obviously, unfortunately for Wickham, I think, although they're putting up a good fight at the moment, I think they'll go.
I think Wickham will go, personally. When you look at the points tally that Wickham have got, and then you think that we was all adamant that we'd probably be already gone. And we're, about 7 or 8 points better off than them now, something like that. Maybe even more than that, isn't it now?
I think it's about 11 now, than Wickham. Not 9 or 11 points.
Yeah, I can't even remember what their result was at the weekend. Oh, they lost today, didn't they, to Norwich 2-0?
Yeah.
So, I think Coventry's an interesting one to watch as well, isn't it? I think that they've really kind of gone off the boil.
They have, but Coventry's performances have not been too bad. They were by far and away the better team against Blackburn at the weekend. If you look at the statistics, I know it's just statistics, but I think they're still in a similar sort of mould to us at the moment. They're playing quite well. They just haven't been quite getting the results. So I think Coventry will be okay. They've got enough about them, the way they play football to stop up. I think it's going to come down to the 2 sides below us and Huddersfield. So I'll keep going on about it. Sound like a broken record, but yeah, that is it. I think Coventry's fixtures as well are not too bad. I think they play a lot of sides, like we were saying, in and around themselves. So that gives you an opportunity to pull yourself away from it. Whereas with ourselves, we're not, other than Huddersfield, we're not playing any other sides. And of course, Rotherham towards the end of the season. Other than that, we're not playing, any more Lutons, QPRs, teams that are sort of down in the lower half. Unfortunately, we're going to be facing a lot of the top 6 sides soon. So when we do play a side like Huddersfield, we've got to get points.
Yeah, I think that's one to touch on next recording. Hopefully be discussing 3 points, but we'll see what happens, I suppose. We've done just under half an hour, but we'll wrap it up there because I know you've got to shoot off and do some things. But thanks for joining us for a short while anyway.
Well, yeah, sorry, mate. I know it's short, but at least it was sweet.
Yeah, sit here and get abused of modelling my hair on Harley Dean. That's the highlight of my day.
That's what I get paid big money for, mate.
Joker, get off. Oh, yeah, we'll wrap it up there anyway, lads, and we'll speak again later on this week. Hopefully, talk about a victory at Huddersfield and how we can start looking at start plotting the route to the playoffs. But yeah, thanks for tuning in anyway as well. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the website. Follow us on the social medias at BCFC Media, and we'll speak to you again soon.